Welcome to yet another FPL video. Now, thank you to everyone who is joining me for this special Boxing Day stream. And before I start, I have to say Merry Christmas to you all, and I hope you have a Happy New Year. And yeah, hopefully you have discharged a bit, from FPL and taken a break. And now we can move forward. And I know there's so much to think about because there's games every few days. And then not only that, all the news about, double game weeks, blank game weeks in game week 33, which is all the way in April or something like that. It's crazy. And we have to think about our trip strategies. When are we going to use our free hit, our wild card, and all of that stuff. So it's very important to be on top of everything. And in this video, I know a lot of you will be asking about your chip strategies, about mine. And that's something that I have been going over in the last few days. And, even in the YouTube community tab and in my last video. So it's very important to just, get a hold of everything. But this is just absolutely mad, and we'll have to wait and see. I'm going to go through the live chat and answer any of your questions. And captaincy. Even though captaincy is quite an easy one this week, I think, with Mohamed Salah. Then you look about your bench. Very important to sort that out. And also, are you going to prioritize game week 18 or 19, depending on when are you going to use your free hit, when are you going to use a wild card, your bench boost, or etc. So it's very important. And let me just go through, any chats that we have. Welcome, Eric Cartman. I have put in either Chilwell, Telles, or Pogba. Which one? To be honest, I'd probably put Chilwell in case he does play. And if not, then yeah. The thing is with Pogba, I'm not really sure about him because he's not really a goals or assist guy. I don't know about him. From United, you really want Bruno. And if not, maybe Martial or Rashford, they look pretty good now. But Pogba? Nah, not for me. I don't know. So he has been in good form recently, to be fair. He's been scoring goals in Champions League and in the Premier League. So maybe you could have him as your first sub, but I don't know. I wouldn't be too sure about that. I don't expect him to score against Leicester, and I don't expect Telles to keep a clean sheet there. Welcome, NG19. Thank you for joining in. I really appreciate it. And yeah, an early stream. This is the earliest I've ever been, and I have just woken up, I will admit, but it is what it is. And looking at my team, and the one transfer I have made, which I did confirm on Twitter, but I did do Chilwell to Matip because there's a rumour that he could miss, maybe 2 to 3 game weeks, and he is a doubt for the Arsenal game, but he was in training yesterday, Chilwell, so that does raise the question. Maybe he can play in that match, but they've got, I don't know, another game in 2 or 3 in days time against Villa, so maybe Chilwell will be rested for Arsenal, and he'll play against Villa. So I'm not even sure, to be honest, at this point, but we'll have to wait and see. Welcome, Adita. Thank you for joining. For always joining in the stream, so I really appreciate it. Welcome, Chandler. The same thing to you. And I hope you all have had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And yeah, where do we start? So the reasoning behind my Matip decision, is to kind of build for double game week 19 and also, have that, I already had Chilwell, so he had a double game week, but I don't want to have someone who misses potentially 2 to 3 game weeks. And with Matip, hopefully he stays injury free and, he can make it to game week 19 and he's got a double game week there. 2 home fixtures as well. And Liverpool have quite a bit of a break before game week 19 as well. And it leaves my options open. So if I want to use my bench boost, I can use the likes of Matip. That will help so much with my squad. So to be honest, that is kind of the reasoning. It's leaving my options more open. And I know it's kind of a sideways transfer, but, Chilwell got injured and there's nothing I can do about that. The only thing I could have done is not get him back in from DS, but, that was my fault from beforehand. So it is what it is. And when you make mistakes, you got to try rectify them. I try rectify a mistake that I thought I made, and in the end I made it worse. But that is FPL for you. And if I'm being honest, looking ahead, at the moment, I'm actually very tempted to free in game week 18 and to bench boost in 19, which is a very popular tactic. And it's something that I've been talking about in the YouTube community section. So I talked about, the transfers I would make in order to have a bench boost. And if we go through it, if we're going for our starting 11 pretty much, I would not be changing a single thing. The only thing that would change is Kane to Vardy, which is not really too much of a downgrade, especially if you look at the last 4 or 5 game weeks. But if you look at my bench, Forster would move to McCarthy. That's a huge upgrade. Kilman would move to Taylor. That's a huge upgrade. And Basuma to Souček. So, that's literally the only changes I'll be making on top of Vardy in for Kane. And if I didn't free hit in game week 18, I would actually not be taking a single hit to have a bench boost team. So I'd have 11 double game week players, and I'd have a few single game week players such as Calvert-Lewin, Grealish, Son, and Martinez, which is quite a good bench to have, if anything. So very tempted to bench boost in game week 19, but if not, as I always say, I would be saving that for game week 26, my bench boost, which is going to be another double game week. And it really does depend. So if I do activate my bench boost in 19, I might triple captain in 26. But if I'm being honest, I'm really targeting Salah and Liverpool. And, whenever they have a favourable fixture, maybe even this week against West Brom, but, it's very unlikely, or a double game week, then, yeah, Salah will probably be the guy that I go to. And, if I do, use my bench boost in 26, and I don't do it in 19, then I could use my triple captain in 19, or like I said, a favourable fixture or a double game week for Liverpool, and it will probably be one of these smaller double game weeks. I'm not too sure if they're going to have one in game week 26, but it's very important to be on top of all of these things and to be aware. And as for the free hit, either game week 18 or 29, and if not, just another blank game week to navigate it. But that is what it is, So yeah, let's go through any questions that you have. Don't think Frank will risk Chilwell this week. I think the same thing, to be honest, but you never know. I mean, it is a big game, but then again, Arsenal are so bad at the moment. I'm not too sure about Emerson. I don't really think he's that good, but then again, anyone will look good against Arsenal at the moment, so we'll see. Who is more nailed on, Barkley or Mendy? If you're asking about Mendy from City, I'm not too sure. I mean, Mendy... Are you getting confused with Mendy and Traore from Villa? I'm not too sure. But either way, Barkley, in my opinion, I wouldn't say he's nailed, but, he's one of the first options in midfield, in my opinion. So I think the main midfield that Villa want is Grealish on the left, McGinn just in behind with Douglas Luiz, and Barkley as the attacking midfielder. And then on the right, maybe it'll be El Ghazi, maybe it'll be Traore, or it'll be Trezeguet. I'm not too sure. But yeah, I think Barkley's quite nailed, but not entirely nailed, and his injury record suggests otherwise, of course. Hey man, with Vestergaard 75%, what are the chances starting? Should I swap him or bench? To be honest, FPL only know as much as you do. It's not like they have extra information on it. But yeah, he had a little bit of a knock, I think. That's what Ralph Hasenhüttl said. He said, actually, that there's a chance of him playing. So that's why he's 75% rather than 50 or 25. I would risk it, to be honest. I mean, he's got a great fixture against Fulham. And, you don't want to pass up that opportunity. I don't know who you have on your bench and stuff like that. But, yeah, I just start Vestergaard because he's either going to start, in my opinion, or not play at all. So, better not to risk it, in my opinion. Should I punt on Aguero for 1 week? Very tempting to swap for Kane, but still pondering. Might be risky. In my opinion, it's very risky. If this was years gone by when he was more on top of his injuries and he actually, showed how good he was and the form he was in, then yeah, I would say yeah, go for it. But I just can't say go for it at the moment. I think I would wait, and if he has one of those mega performances, then I'd consider him, but I wouldn't do that right now, in my opinion. Diaz at risk of rotation. Will Pep play Stones and Laporte instead? Newcastle will offer nothing, and City's next game is in 2 days. That's a fair point. I think if there's ever a time for Diaz to be benched finally, it would be one of these games. I mean, he played the other day against Arsenal, but he just seems to play every single important game for them. And if there's like a game where he could be rested, like in the Champions League, I think in the last game or so, then he does get benched. So you have a point there, Gemma. And you know what? I think that could happen. So yeah, very good point. And if you're asking me, I think, yeah, it's more likely they will be benched for this game week and then save for the other one. But if not, he can play every single one of them. Because some players, especially at centre-back, they can just play all these games without too much trouble anyway. But yeah, I think there's a chance. It's not completely, set. But if it's ever going to happen, I think Newcastle's one of those games. Who to pick, Grealish or Rafinha? Well, if you're having the double game weeks in mind, game week 19, of course, Leeds do have one and Grealish doesn't. He's got a game week 18 fixture, which Leeds don't, but not the double game week. So if you're building a team for game week 19, I would say Rafinha. But if it's just, forget about chips and stuff, who's the better, option, even with fixtures in mind, I would still say Grealish. I mean, I know the fixtures are very, grim over the next few, but as I've always discussed in all my videos, Aston Villa have actually, had some of their best performances against, the likes of Liverpool and Arsenal, teams you didn't expect them to do well against. And you know what? I think Grealish is fixture proof and everything goes through him. And after that, this is what's really important, and I keep on saying to you lot. Of course, it's very good to prepare for Game Week 18 and Game Week 19, but ultimately, you want to also think about the game weeks before and after. And if you look at Grealish's fixtures from Game Week 20 after, it's fantastic. Some great fixtures for Aston Villa. And to be honest, Grealish tends to do better away from home anyway, but yeah, I just think he's the better option overall. But if you're asking up until Game Week 19 and you're trying to have a bench boost and stuff like that, then yeah, I would say Rafinha, I guess. But otherwise, I think Grealish is the guy. But it ultimately depends on your chip strategy. But yeah, that's my short answer, or I hope it was short. My squad: Eiling, Zuma, Dyer, KDB, Salah, Neto, Son, Bamford, Kane, Calvert. Any changes? I mean, I don't know your bench and stuff like that, but looks pretty good to be fair. I wouldn't be too sure about a clean sheet for Spurs against Wolves, but you never know. I mean, Wolves haven't been great anyway. And then I look at your midfield. You got KDB and Salah, the two best captaincy options this week, so that's pretty good. Neto's a good option, but Spurs is a bit of a difficult fixture. Yeah, I like that team overall. You got double Spurs attack as well. You pretty much got the Spurs triple up. So yeah, I think it's a good team, to be honest. And you got Calvert-Lewin against Sheffield. I think there should be some points there. I mean, you'd hope so. Good luck. But I'm not too sure about your bench. That's why I can't really say, what changes you should make. Is Soufal on leave? His wife had a baby. Oh my God. Thank you for that, Calvin. I will admit, I actually did not see that. Let me actually have a look now. Oh my God. I mean, there's always these little things that come up, but of course, you can't just... Yeah, you're right. I think he has had one. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I haven't actually seen anything, from Moyes or something like that, but maybe he did mention it in his press conference. But yeah, I'm not too sure. I mean, hopefully he doesn't, get benched. But either way, I've got Zuma, in my opinion, or in my case, should I say, to come in. So it's not too much of an issue. But that is something to look out for. So thank you so much, Calvin, for the information. Mahrez to Son and Chilwell to Taylor, worth it? I'm not too sure about the rest of your defense. So if the rest of your defense is pretty good, they're all playing defenders who are pretty solid, they tend to get clean sheets and stuff like that, then I would say go for it, because if I'm being honest, Son is a major upgrade on Mahrez. Mahrez has those, 2 or 3 home games where he hauls, but you want consistency, especially for around 8.5 million, and he doesn't offer that. And Son, is one of the best assets this season, so I would say go for it, but only if the rest of your defense is good, because if Taylor's going to be, one of your main starters, and you have a lot of, bench fodder, maybe some 3.9 million defenders to make funds and stuff like that, then I would say no. But yeah. What chip strategy are you opting for? Thoughts on riding out Game Week 18 and free hitting in 19? You know what? Okay, so like I said, at the moment, my plan is to free hit in 18 and to either bench boost in 19 or 26. And at the moment, because I can make a pretty good team for Game Week 19, I'm thinking of bench boosting then, and I could save my triple captain for another time. But the reason why I've left it open is because you look at the other side of the coin, and in Game Week 19, Salah has, 2 good fixtures. He's got United at home and Burnley at home. So, when you have Salah in a double game week and both games are at home, and there isn't, much chance of rotation and stuff like that, then it's just such a great opportunity to pass by, because when are you going to captain Salah again, or triple captain, should I say? Because no one knows if there's going to be another double game week for Liverpool, and if there is, probably one of the smaller ones. For Game Week 26, more likely than not, it's not going to be. So it's very, very, tempting to triple captain Salah for Game Week 19. So if I don't do that, I'll most likely be bench boosting. But as for 18, you have a good point. You could actually just, let things go by and free hit maybe in 29 or in 33, one of the other blank game weeks. But at the moment, I still think I will be free hitting in 18. And yeah, but there is an argument. I do get that to free hit in 29. But I think there's going to be even fewer games in that game week compared to 18. So yeah, there's arguments to be made in all sides. But ultimately, it depends on your team. And if you think you can build a great team, to bench boost in Game Week 19, then you could go for it. Why not? Because there's a lot of great fixtures. And even, some of the single game week players like Kane and Son, they've got a fantastic fixture in Sheffield and they can do so well. So I think it's actually, it's plausible to do whatever you want in terms of Game Week 19 or 26. and all of that stuff. But at the moment, like I said, free hit in 18, bench boost in 19, probably wildcard in 25. And in terms of bench boost, not bench boost, triple captain, either 26 or just another favourable fixture for Liverpool or double game week. Maybe one of the smaller ones that will come about this season. But yeah, that's my chip strategy at the moment. I've got things open-minded, as you can tell. But of course, you want to also, at the moment, like I said, I brought in Matip and he's a double game week player. You want to leave your options open. You don't want to limit yourself and force yourself into something because maybe a week or two down the line something happens, maybe a fixture rescheduled or whatever, and that kind of makes you change your mind. And we'll have to wait and see when the Man United Burnley game is rescheduled too, but a lot of information yet to come. Let's go through these questions. I've kind of missed out on quite a few. Apologies. What should I do with Mahrez? That's a good question. To be honest, I would probably keep him for this game against Newcastle, and then I would get rid, if I'm being honest, because, I don't know, just, like I said, Mahrez just too many hauls in maybe 1 or 2 games, but no consistency whatsoever. I would get rid after. But I don't know who you have in your midfield. If you don't have Son, you could go to him, especially with the fixtures coming up like Fulham and Leeds. Maybe if you don't have Grealish, if you want maybe some double game week players like Bowen or Rafinha, there's plenty of options. But ultimately, I think Mahrez isn't worth it, in my opinion. But keep him for this Newcastle game, I would say. Wait, is Chilwell only out for a short while then? Is Cancelo nailed for the next few weeks with Walker out? Well, to be honest, yeah, I think he will play because if this was also at left back, there's Zinchenko and Mendy who could fill in. But yeah, I think one of them will come in at left back and Cancelo will play right back. So yeah, Cancelo should be nailed on for the next week or so. And as for Chilwell, like I said, I don't know. He was in training yesterday. And he was part of the training team to face Arsenal. So I think he could play. But if not, he'll probably miss maybe 2 game weeks, 3 game weeks. I mean, basically the next game week is in a few days' time. So you've got to take that into account as well. Hi Dylan, force on my team. Martinez, Bednarek, Cancelo, Dallas, Grealish, KDB, Bruno, Salah captain, Son, DCL, Bamford. Yeah, it's a good team to be honest. And trying to pick out a hole in it. You know what? I think that's pretty good. Let me just look at the Leeds fixture. Burnley at home. Yeah, I think that's a really good team, to be honest, for this game week. Yeah, I think there should be plenty of points. I'm assuming KDB or Bruno are your vice captain, but yeah, Salah captaincy. I like that team and should do very well. Son or Kane for next week? That's a good question. To be honest, I tend to kind of think more long term, so if you're bringing in a player, don't just look at the fixture you're bringing him in for, but also afterwards. And if you're asking for Game Week 16 specifically, I would probably say Kane. I think the Fulham game suits him more. But when you look at, for example, Leeds in Game Week 17, Son's pace and the counter-attacking style of Mourinho, I think that would suit Son more. So it depends ultimately week on week and the opponents and how Spurs set up. But for Fulham, I do think Kane would be more suitable and he's probably a captaincy choice in that case. So yeah, I'd say for Game Week 16, it would be Kane. But 17, it would be Son. And if you're asking about overall, that's a bit of a tougher question. But I'd probably edge a bit more towards Son. But it's a tough argument, both done very well this season. That's why I've still got both of them in at the moment. Robertson or Matip? If Matip I can get Kane for Game Week 16. Otherwise, we'll have Vardy, Martial on the double game week. To be honest, having Vardy and Martial for the double game week is pretty good, to be honest. Remember, Martial plays Fulham away in one of them. I know the other one's Liverpool, but that's a different story. Vardy has Southampton and Chelsea at home. To be honest, if you're asking me, if you have the money, I would say go for Robertson. But maybe getting Robertson obviously will affect you in other areas. For the next few, you would want to have Kane. But then for Game Week 19, although Kane has a great fixture, and it's hard to get rid of him for that, Vardy and Martial have double game weeks. So I wouldn't be too concerned. And in this case, I think you could go for Robertson. So yeah, that's what I think. I think only Harry Maguire played more minutes for a defender last minute than Diaz, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised about that. I think Diaz is just the type to just be nailed into the team and be rested very minimally, maybe in another cup competition where they've already won or gone through, something like that. So yeah, that's a very good fact for Dark Runner. Rafinha to Vardy and Neto to Fernandes. Is it worth it? I'm guessing, Bruno Fernandes. Yeah, I think that's worth it, to be honest. think those are good moves. Rafinha to Vardy, Neto to Fernandes. Yeah, even though Rafinha is a double game week player, getting the likes of Vardy and Fernandes, I think, are just better options. Yeah, you know what? I would go for it. But if it's the other way around, then no, not for me. Thoughts on Wolves as a side right now? Do they no longer have the defensive solidity and attacking threat they had last season? I completely agree, Savage Mode, because you look at last season, Jimenez's numbers. He also added assists to his game. He had quite a lot of assists, fantasy assists, whatever. But yeah, they just had something extra. Traore on the right and Jota. They had Doherty as well, who was actually really good from right wing back. And of course, at Tottenham, he hasn't done very well. But Doherty was one of the key components in that Wolves side. And think about it, Wolves, two of the top scorers and assisters in Jota and Doherty have gone. Traore is pretty much benched all the time now. And Jimenez is out with a fractured skull. So Wolves haven't just been the same. Neto and Podence, they're quite lively players. I do like Neto especially. But yeah, defensively, I don't see the same solidity as last season. I mean, at the beginning of this season, I think they did have it for a while, and then they kept changing things. Saiss out, bringing in another player, bringing in their new signing at left wing back. Then he scores, then they take him out. I don't know. I think Nuno needs to kind of steady the ship and pick the same players. Especially with the back line, build the partnership. I mean, even Willy Bolly, who's someone you would think is playing every single game when fit. He's not been playing recently. But you know what? It is what it is. I still think Wolves are a good team, and they can cause trouble for anyone. And hopefully they cause trouble for Spurs. But we'll have to wait and see. Let's see. Let's go through. Let's scroll all the way down. Souček or Cancelo, whom to bench? I'd bench Souček because, yeah, look, so I always say bench the defender for, the more attacking-minded player. But with Souček, I don't know, I think the kind of more likelihood of points, Cancelo is going to be higher, 6 points or whatever. With Souček, it could be 2, maybe 3 if he gets a clean sheet. So I'll just go for Cancelo, definitely, and bench Souček. Captain and KDB, that's a good option, to be honest. I think he's probably the second most popular this week, and for good reason. And City have a great record against Newcastle at home, so I'll have to wait and see. If you have both Martinez and McCarthy, who would you start? Oh, that's a tough one. I'd probably start Martinez, but I don't know. It depends. If you have Walker-Peters, for example, and you don't have another Villa defender, then yeah, I would probably go for Martinez. But you know what? I don't know. Because Fulham have been decent recently. If it wasn't for that, then I would just, probably go for McCarthy. But yeah, I would go for Martinez. But then again, I don't know if any of them are going to get clean sheets. Hopefully both of them do. But I just couldn't tell you for sure. My team for this week: McCarthy, Dallas, Diaz, Creswell, Fernandes, De Bruyne, Salah, Grealish, Watkins, Calvert-Lewin, Bamford. That's a good team, to be honest. Yeah, you know what? Some great fixtures in there. You got the 2 best captaincy choices. That looks pretty good. Should I start Klitsch or Bowen today? I'd probably start... Let's look. I think I'd start Bowen, but yeah, I'm not too keen on any of them, to be honest. I got in Dallas and Bamford from my first hit this season. I got rid of Wilson and Lamptey, and happy Christmas to you. Happy Christmas to you as well, Francis. And yeah, to be honest, I mean, that's impressive. Your first hit all the way in December. I mean, I've taken maybe 20 points worth of hits so far, and I'm happy with that. So yeah, 2 double game week players as well. And you got rid of Lamptey, who's an injury concern, and Wilson, who might be rested and who's got bad fixtures. So yeah, very good choices, I think. Wilson against Man City or Reguilon against Wolves? Wilson could be benched, to be honest, and he could come on maybe the last 20 minutes or something. I always, back the attacker, so I would say Wilson, I guess, but, Reguilon against Wolves, maybe there could be a clean sheet, could be a 0-0 or something, maybe. He could get an assist and a 2-1 win. Who knows? You know what? For this game week specifically, I'll say Reguilon, but I tend to go for the attacker, you know that. Trent or Cancelo transfer in. Like I have to keep on saying, it depends on your chip strategy. Are you going to bench boost in double game week 19, or do you have a lot of double game week 19 players anyway? If you do, then you don't need him so much, Trent, but I'm not too sure. Game week 18, if you're trying to build towards that, then definitely go for Cancelo. Overall, I think Cancelo's the better option, just better value for money. And I would rather go for Robertson over Trent, if I'm being honest, this season anyway. Neco Williams to Robertson or Lamptey to Dyer. Already have 3 Liverpool players, but really want Robertson. If you already have 3 Liverpool players now, then you can't get Robertson in. And you'd have to take someone else out. and I'm not sure who you others are. I'm guessing Salah's one of them. So that is a bit of a difficult one. But if you have two, and if you get Robertson in and that's free, then I'd definitely say Neco Williams to Robertson. But the thing with Lamptey is that he's just too many injury concerns, too many niggles, and too many one-pointers, zero-pointers. So I would get rid of him ultimately. So even if you do Neco Williams to Robertson, I would consider moving Lamptey, maybe downgrade him a bit if you don't have enough money to go up. You could go to Walker Peters or something like that. Just, Lamptey, too much hassle in my opinion, for what it's worth. Whom should I transfer out, Lamptey or Chilwell? Well, Lamptey's definitely missing this game week, I think. And he'll be back, well, it says by the 29th of December against Arsenal. No surprises there. And as for Chilwell, there is a rumour that he's going to miss 2 to 3 game weeks, according to the Telegraph. I don't know how reliable that is. But he could play tomorrow, or should I say today, actually. He was in the training yesterday. So I would just transfer out Lamptey, I guess, because like I said, too many concerns anyway. And with Chilwell, maybe you could ride out 1 or 2 game weeks and then have him for the double game week anyway. And he's just the better option. The only thing I would say about transferring out Chilwell instead is that because obviously he's more expensive, that gives you more flexibility with who you can get in and stuff like that. But I would rather transfer out Lamptey, I guess. It's a tough one, though. Firmino for Jesus. Yeah, Firmino, recently, I know it sounds stupid, but he's been a good option recently. He's been doing very well, getting goals, a winner against Spurs, and he gets, just does very well against Palace, getting the assists as well. You know what? And with Jesus out with COVID, Firmino could be a good replacement, but I still ultimately think if you can upgrade a bit more, go to Vardy, go to Kane, and if you can downgrade the likes of Calvert-Lewin, Che Adams, Bamford, all double game week players really, apart from Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So, you know what? It depends. Firmino is a good punt, and especially, if you have Salah and you also have Firmino, you're kind of covering the Liverpool attack well. And Firmino's just been on great form recently. He tends to do well around this period, actually. Something that I've noticed. But I think it's a good transfer. But just consider, if you have the money, to go to a Vardy and go to a Kane, stuff like that. But that's just my opinion. After KDB plays Newcastle, we'll ship him out for Son, so I can go Kilman to Robertson as I have some money in the bank. Thoughts? Yeah, I think that's a very good strategy. And Son's got great fixtures from 17, or should I say from 16 to 19. So that's a very good choice. And I'm pretty sure you might have like maybe Bruno or Salah and stuff like that. So I get that reasoning completely. And I think that's a good move. And then Kilman to Robertson, name a bigger upgrade than that. I hope Salah scores 2 own goals. That's not the spirit, is it, Ninad? Not the spirit. Bowen or Vestergaard? I would start Vestergaard, to be honest. I just don't trust Bowen or West Ham that much. But you never know. It's hard to predict when Bowen's hauls are going to come from. But with Vestergaard, I'd probably play him instead. I know he's a doubt. But like I said, if he doesn't play, I'm pretty sure he won't play at all. So you could just bring Bowen on as the first substitute. Jesus testing positive for COVID-19 on Christmas Day sums up 2020. Yeah, that's actually the first thing I woke up to. I got told Jesus has COVID. I'm like, what kind of dumb joke are you talking about? And then I'm like, oh shit, it's the Man City guy. Yeah, that's a good joke though. Yeah, that's true. 2020 has just been a mad year. Hopefully 2021 is better for everyone. But you don't want to tempt fate. I definitely don't. Chilwell replacement for 1 week punt. Cannot get Trent or Robertson. I have Dyer, Diaz, Creswell. Who to play, Dyer or Creswell if I bring in Chilwell replacement? For this week, I'd play Creswell. Although I'm not too convinced about either West Ham or Spurs keeping a clean sheet. And Creswell has that more attacking potential. So I'd definitely go for Creswell for this game week. And as for a replacement for Chilwell, I would consider Zuma. I know that sounds a bit weird. Maybe Matip if you really want that Liverpool cover, because it seems you do. But you can't get Trent or Robertson. I was in the exact same situation. Ideally, I'd go from Chilwell to Robertson. But even if I, did 2 transfers this week and I went from Kane to Vardy and from Chilwell to Robertson, I'd be 0.1 million short now with Vardy's price drop. So, yeah, it is what it is. You can't do much. Robertson is the ideal one. But I think Matip, so long as he stays fit, I think he's a great choice. And if not, Zuma. I know they're not too attacking, but, still got that, threat from set pieces and they can get some goals here or there. So I would consider them too for sure. And you've already got City cover and stuff like that. But yeah, let's go up. Oh my God. Oh, apologies for this. I'll try speed up through this. Dylan, I have Grealish and Rafinha. Who to bench? The team is Martinez. To be honest, I'd bench Rafinha. I know that sounds crazy, but I just prefer Grealish. The only thing I will say is that most of Grealish's hauls come away from home, so it depends ultimately on what you think. Who do you think is going to score higher? It's a tough question to answer. I just prefer Grealish overall. I think he's more consistent than Rafinha, who, to be fair, recently has been very, very good. Dylan, Feliz Navidad, bro. Good luck this week. Good luck, everyone. Thank you, Jose, and Feliz Navidad para vos también. And I wish you all the best. Thank you for that. Walker, COVID saves my Cancelo to guarantee play. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, not celebrating COVID or anything, or, players having stuff, but, it actually helps. So it's a bit of a relief in a way, as cynical as that sounds. Buy Rodrigo for Wilson. Yeah, you know what? That's a very good question, because I've seen some people mention Rodrigo recently, and he is an option. I just think that, Bamford is enough in terms of forwards. If you have Rafinha and Bamford, that's good. And if you have Dallas as well, that's a good triple up for double game week and stuff like that. And also the fixtures before and after. Rodrigo, I'm not too sure about. I would prefer Bamford, like I said. I would prefer Che Adams, kind of diversify the attack a bit more. He is a good option. And if you want to be a bit different and you back Rodrigo to go, really big, then, go for him. But in my opinion, I would just rather have Adams and Bamford up front around the same price. But he is a good choice, definitely. Who has the best chance to play left back for City this game week? Mendy, Zinchenko, or Ake? Yeah, Ake's another one you mentioned that can play left back. Very good point. I think Mendy, personally. Zinchenko tends to play in the cup games and Champions League, until obviously it gets serious. So, yeah, I would say Mendy. That would be my prediction, but I couldn't guarantee you that. And if you're thinking of bringing one of them in, I would probably say no, because in a week or two's time, Walker will be back, and then Cancelo will be shifted to left back, and then he'll rotate with Mendy. So, yeah, it was not ideal. Will Stones play this week? Well, okay, so if City play like their main starting lineup and they're not really looking to rest players for this Newcastle game, I think Stones will play, because I think the main partnership right now is Diaz and Stones. But if City are resting players, and especially with Stones' injury record, and Pep is very cautious about this, then I think Stones will not play, and he'll probably, be featuring in the game in a few days' time. Let's see, actually, who do City play after? I think it's Everton, no? Yeah, Everton. Yeah, I think they're going to be rested for that, probably. It's a possibility. So, for the Everton game and onwards, I think Stones will be playing. As for Newcastle, depends on Pep, like I said. Is he going to rotate? If he does rotate, I think Stones is going to be one of those dropped. Otherwise, if they're playing their main starting lineup, then I think Stones will play. But to be fair, he didn't play the other day against Arsenal, so maybe he could play here, but I just couldn't tell you for sure. They're being very cautious with Stones, I'm telling you, very cautious. Thoughts on free hit in Game Week 19 while having 10 players for 18, or save the free hit for later on? That's a good point. It's good to have alternative strategies, but the problem with that strategy, Dr. Swan, is that if you free hit in Game Week 19, going into Game Week 20, your team reverts to your Game Week 18 team, and you're going to have a lot of players there who are very good for that Game Week 18 fixture, but not necessarily too good for Game Week 20 onwards. And that's the problem with free hitting in 19, in my opinion. That's the main issue. That's why I haven't considered it. And I'm looking to free hit in these blank game weeks, like Game Week 18, 29, 33 maybe, and triple captaincy, bench boost, looking to use those in the double game weeks like 19 and 26. So it's a very good suggestion, and I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's not, there is problems with that, and you've got to be aware of those. Dyer, Soufal, Bednarek, James, Dallas, 2 defenders need to be benched. I'd probably bench Dyer for sure, and then... Ooh, that's a tough one. I think Reece James is out of this game anyway, so I think, yeah, Dyer and Reece James, and then play Soufal, Bednarek, and Dallas. You've got the same team as me, except for Matip and Walker Peters. I've got Dallas and Stones. That's fair enough, and they're, both good choices that you have, Dallas and Stones. And Dallas is someone I'm considering for the double game week, but unfortunately, as I've discussed already with, my plans for Game Week 19 and my bench boost potentially, I wouldn't be able to get Souček if I did get in Dallas instead of Taylor. And I'd have to maybe sacrifice my keeper, go from McCarthy to a Meslier or Johnston, which I'll be honest, I'm not too keen about. So I have to make a few compromises. If not, I can't get Vardy. I'd have to get someone cheaper, maybe Firmino or something like that. So it's a tough one. But yeah, you've got some 2 good options there. Salah's price rise to 12.6 million last night makes him the most expensive player in the game by 0.7 million. Has he become one of the very few players who are essential? To be honest, I mean, you could not have Salah and still do very well, but I just think I wouldn't say he's essential, but he's just one of those players that you want to have, I think. So yeah, Salah or Bruno, I think those are the two, best options at the moment, talking about form and stuff like that. But yeah, Salah is probably the most reliable guy. That's the thing I like about him. He's very reliable, very consistent, and he's actually had a better start than he did in his first season at Liverpool, where he just broke all sorts of records. Great fixtures coming up, double game week, and he just can be captain in so many games. I mean, West Brom, hopefully he produces, and if not, then I just don't know what to say anymore. But look how many blanks he's got, not very many. And I think one of them was when he had COVID pretty much. So yeah, Salah just, I wouldn't say, you know what, fuck it, yeah, he is essential. He is essential, but you can go without him and do well. That is the point. But he is very, very good. And I just couldn't go into an FPL season, or this season anyway, with the form he's in and not have him. Last season, I will admit, I had Mane for large portions of it rather than Salah. But yeah, this year, it's so hard to go without him. Let's see. But Tottenham might get clean sheet because Wolves only scored from penalty against Burnley. Yeah, but Wolves turn up against the bigger teams. Against the smaller teams, they kind of sometimes too complacent, and then they drop points. So that's why I think Wolves, especially against Spurs, they've got a good recent record against them, especially at Tottenham Stadium. But yeah, and last year, even at the Molineux, I think it was 2-1 or something like that to Spurs, but Wolves did score. But yeah, with Creswell, you get more attacking potential as well, and a better fixture, in my opinion. Should I do Lamptey to Bednarek, Kyle Walker-Peters, Dallas, Taylor, or Stones? Already have Target, Kufal, it says Cougar there, Martinez, and Matip. All right, fair enough. I would probably go for, especially with the double game weeks in mind, either Dallas or, one of the Southampton guys, probably. But obviously Stones is a great differential and stuff like that, and Taylor, very good for 4.5 million. But yeah, my ideal pick would be the Southampton defender or Dallas. Soufal or Vestergaard? I would probably play Vestergaard instead. I'm a bit more convinced about a Southampton clean sheet. And Vestergaard has that attacking potential, very good from set pieces, got a lot of goals, and he hasn't blanked too many times this season. That's what I like about him. So I would go for Vestergaard, probably. Which Man City defender? I think Diaz. He's just nailed. And, sometimes City might get a clean sheet. Cancelo's not even playing, and obviously you don't get the points for that. But with Diaz, most likely he's going to play every single game, or at least 90% of them. And any clean sheet that City get, he's going to be bearing the fruits of. Martinez, Zuma, Vestergaard, Diaz, Dallas, Kilman, Grealish, Fernandes, Son, Souček, Salah, Adams, DCL, Bamford. Priority transfer today, starting 11. It's tough. I would play from your defence, Vestergaard, Diaz, and Dallas. Zuma first sub. Your midfield, Grealish, Fernandes, Son, Salah. Souček probably second sub. And then, Adams, DCL, Bamford starting. That's what I would do. Do you think KDB or Salah will be rested? Salah literally got rested the other day against Palace. And last year against Palace, he also got rested at Selhurst Park. Just a, little fact there. But yeah, I just think he got rested, and he's chasing the golden boot. I'm pretty sure he's saying to Klopp, come on, I really want this golden boot. I'm top scorer now, but that's because I scored 2 goals in 20 minutes. Come on. I think he will play. But, maybe he's not going to get full 90 minutes. He'll be coming off earlier and stuff like that, bringing the likes of Minamino. So, yeah, as for KDB, it depends, like I said, on Pep's policy. Is he going to rotate a lot of his team to save them for Everton? He always says, in terms of his rotation policy, that getting minutes is very important for players, so they get that match sharpness up. So that's something to consider. And in my opinion, if you're asking me what I think will happen, I think KDB will play around 60, 70 minutes, then be substituted a bit early, save himself a bit for the Everton game. But I think he will start. I couldn't guarantee you that. I'm not Pep, so it's up to you. But either way, I think Salah's the better captaincy option this week, regardless. And even then, remember last week, with Salah, all the rumours or the leaks of him being benched, and look what he did coming off the bench. So yeah, I just think Salah's the better captaincy option overall. Thoughts on Ampadu? Has been playing cam for Sheffield, and he's been playing on blank game week, and I'm on free hit on 19. Or would Lewis be better? I don't really like Lewis. He's just maybe that 4.3 million guy you could have as your second or third sub most of the time. And as for Ampadu, I just wouldn't go anywhere near any Sheffield players, if I'm being honest. And if you want a cheap defender, I think Taylor's your guy. Around 4.5 million, and a week or so ago he was 4.4. I would go for Taylor over Ampadu or Lewis. Whom should I start, Souček or Dallas? I'd start Dallas, definitely, Dallas. Would you start Konsa against Palace, injury risk, or should I put West Brom defender who's on my bench? I play Konsa, in my opinion. And if not, the West Brom defender comes in. But yeah, West Brom defender, I would reconsider, maybe move him out. Dallas, I felt he plays high. Yeah, I agree, Dr. Swan. Thanks for that one, Dylan. Merry Christmas. Hope you have a great week. Thank you, Diruv. Likewise, and really appreciate that you joined the stream. Merry Christmas, mate. Thanks for the advice. Thank you, Dr. Bot. Very nice name. Hopefully you and your family have had a great one, and I really appreciate that. Trent plus Rodrigo plus Fabianski, or Johnston plus Firmino plus Dallas on a wild card and undecided on which combo. All right. That's a very good question. Okay, so let's compare it player for player. So Fabianski is better than Johnston, but he is significantly more expensive, and I tend to prefer, McCarthy or Martinez. I think those would be my two ideal picks because of their price, but I would prefer Fabianski. Then you compare Firmino to Rodrigo. I mean, given recent form, I would say Firmino, but otherwise, when he's back to his usual, toothless up front and all of that, you're not getting the FPL points. He's very frustrating to earn at his price. And then Trent is better than Dallas, but I don't know. You know what? I think the second one has better value, but I do prefer the first one. I would probably say that. Do you think Stones will play? Like I said, it depends on Pep. Do you think he's going to play most of his starting lineup? Basically, Stones is the main centre back, or should I say the second main centre back behind Diaz. And if City, want to rest Stones, especially because he's injury prone, then maybe they'll rest him for this game and then play him against Everton. So it depends. But ultimately, what I think will happen, I think City will play quite a strong lineup, but they'll bring players off quite early, and Stones could be one of them maybe. But I'm not too sure. Stones, he's either a 90-minute man or he just doesn't get any minutes, in my opinion. And it just depends. Will Pep, be saving and be extra cautious? And if you're asking me, I think he will be cautious. That's the thing. I think he'll be cautious. I think he'll play a strong lineup, but with the likes of Stones or injury prone, he's going to be very cautious with them. Whether that means he doesn't, he gets taken off early, doesn't start, who knows? It's up to you, really. I wish I could tell you for sure, but Pep is so hard to predict, and whatever I say, it will probably be the opposite. Dyer or Dallas to start? Dallas, definitely, Susie. Already did Chilwell to Soufal. Should I do Neco, Williams to Robertson? Also for -4, got Dallas, Lamptey, Mendy. Will Robertson cover up my -4 hit? To be honest, defenders in general don't really. So let's say Robertson gets a clean sheet against West Brom, which is very likely. You get maybe 2 extra points, and it depends on how many the players you ship out get and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, Chilwell to Soufal is a good move. I get that. Neco, Williams to Robertson. You could maybe wait a week, but I know you want him for that West Brom game. I do get that. You know what? You could go for it, but like I say, hits for defenders or keepers, I don't like it. The only time I like hits is when you're funding moves for a big midfielder or a big striker. Otherwise, not too keen on them. But of course, -4 hits aren't bad. I'm going to probably take one myself for Game Week 19 for Souček and Vardy, in for Bissouma and Kane. So, and you never know. Get Taylor for target for a -4 hit. Not for me personally, but you know what? Taylor's definitely probably a better choice at the moment and the best at 4.5 million. Taylor or Justin? Let's look at... Oh, no. Yeah, I'd probably go for Taylor, but I don't expect a clean sheet for any of them. Both hard fixtures. Leeds versus Burnley. What do you think the score will be? I think Leeds will win. Maybe 3-1, 2-1, something like that. I think Leeds will score. They'll be bombarding Burnley. But then again, I don't know. Burnley are the type to, kind of nick a goal and then literally park the bus, and Leeds just struggle. But yeah, I think Leeds will score and win. Can I start James instead of Soufal? Because even if James doesn't start, he'll get auto sub. Yeah, of course you can. And if you back James to really get that clean sheet, then go ahead. But I think it's very unlikely that he even plays, to be honest. Soufal or target? For this game week, maybe target, but overall Soufal, especially with the double game week and stuff like that. And yeah, I think Soufal's more creative. So that's a tough one. But yeah, I'd probably go for target this game week, but I'm not too sure. I don't expect any of them really to keep a clean sheet. Or if one of them does, the other one won't. So it's a tough one. Martinez or McCarthy in goal. Like I said, for this game week, probably Martinez, but depends. If you already have a Southampton defender, then yeah, definitely go for Martinez. But if you already have a Villa defender, then just go for McCarthy. The scenes when Salah blanks. Okay, I don't like this negative energy, Nina. Come on, man. I don't think he will, and hopefully he doesn't. He is my captain, and that would be a third captaincy blank in a row. Oh my god, let me not think about that. Moving on. Thank you for all the answers, mate. Has any important news come out this morning? Not that I know of, and I apologise for that, because if I'm being honest, literally 20 minutes before the stream started, I woke up. So literally I was like, oh yeah. And I had to rush to get everything sorted. But yeah, I didn't see any news at the moment. But you know, hopefully people in the chat, if there is anything, they have put it. But yeah, thank you for your kind comment. And thank you for always engaging in the discussion. In Game Week 16, I'm using wildcard. Should I get Mane for Fernandes only for this game week? I get the logic, but Fernandes could still do very well against Leicester. So to be honest, I would hold, and especially if you already have Salah. So yeah, I wouldn't do it personally, but it's up to you. You know, sometimes going for these premium, you know, kind of just shifting between the premiums, it does work well. But it's not something I personally do. Have Arsenal joined the club with West Brom and Sheffield as the teams with almost no solid FPL assets? Probably. It's not as bad. It's still a bit better, but yeah, it's very grim. And to be honest, I remember after the United game when we beat them, everyone was talking about Bellerin. You know, got a 12-point haul, and I said, you know what, I get, you know, the logic behind it. He's been getting some double-digit hauls from time to time, but I just don't trust Arsenal defence, and I don't trust any Arsenal player. And unfortunately, I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't say I was proven right, because I never expected it to be this bad. And wow, what an awful season Arsenal are having. Hopefully today is the start of a turnaround. But I'm going to be saying this every week, aren't I? Merry Christmas. Got to go now. Thanks for the advice. Thank you, Dr. Swan, for joining in. And Merry Christmas to you too. Thank you so much for answering my questions. Merry Christmas. And I hope you have a healthy and wonderful 2021. Thank you, Lucas. And likewise to you and your family. And hopefully you have a great time and a great game week. Got in Cancelo and Sufal for Chilwell and Mitchell. Good move. To be honest, yeah, I think those are good moves. Mitchell, yeah, I think they're good upgrades. Obviously, Chilwell to Cancelo, not really an upgrade, but he's injured, most likely for this game week. I do like those moves, and yeah, I think they're pretty good. Hopefully they work out for you. Cancelo's pretty much nailed for the next two. After that, expect some rotation, but if the rest of your defense, you know, are playing and stuff like that, and you're confident in them, shouldn't be any problem. I have Lamptey and James. I want to sell one of the two. I would probably sell. It ultimately depends on how long their injuries are. So Reece James could be 2 to 3 game weeks, but then Lamptey, he's definitely missing this game week, and I think Reece James is very unlikely to play. For getting injuries, I would definitely get rid of Lamptey. I think Reece James is a better asset, and too many 0 and 1 pointers, too many injury niggles. So yeah, I would get rid of Lamptey probably. Got my wild card, but no free hit. Any advice on how to work past game week 18? You don't have your free hit. That's a difficult one. Okay, so in my case, or in my opinion, with your wild card, you want to strike a balance. Let's look at the fixtures between game week 18 and game week 19, because you don't have the free hit to navigate, and I'm assuming you might want to use maybe a triple captain or a bench boost there. So for game week 18, maybe get in the likes of De Bruyne, Diaz, you know, these kind of players. Maybe one Spurs player, Son or Kane. You know, try to get 6-7 players from game week 18. And then from 19, the same thing. And using maybe a hit or your free transfer, because after you play a free hit, you can only have one free transfer and you can't save up, you know, 2 or whatever, even if you did beforehand. Yeah, you can use maybe a -4 hit or just one free transfer and get in an extra double game week player in between game week 18 or 19. So let's say, for example, you get in Kane and Son. And then for game week 19, you want Jamie Vardy. You could literally go from Kane to Vardy there, and you get an extra double game week player. So that's how I would play it if I didn't have the free hit, but I had the wild card. I would strike a balance between game week 18 and 19, and maybe take a hit or two after game week 18 to get even more double game week players in. That's how I would play it. If Salah gets -2, so the people who captain them, will they get -4? Yep, exactly. Anything. So any negative times 2 is going to be like that. -2 goes to -4. So let's not even talk about that. Start Dallas or Curtis Jones. Have Meslier as goalkeeper. Will Jones start ahead of Keita? Or should I say Keita? I just prefer Dallas, to be honest. Curtis Jones, you know, for his price, 4.3, 4.4 million. Very good. Good as your 5th midfielder. But I would start Dallas. But of course, I get the logic, you know, great fixture. And maybe Curtis Jones, this could be the time he gets some Premier League goals. But I would prefer Dallas, a bit more reliable. Hello, Watkins or Suchich this game week? I would go for Watkins, but I don't know. Like, I've tried not to be harsh on him. You know, even from months ago, I've been saying I don't like Watkins. But you know what? It's not like he's an awful option. I think he's been a bit unlucky, you know, with the offsides and stuff like that. It's a tough one. But yeah, I just prefer the attacker over, you know, the defensive midfielder or the defender. So yeah, I'd go for Watkins. Good fixture as well. Free forwards for Game Week 19. That's a good question. To be honest, I would probably say Vardy, Bamford, and Che Adams. But obviously it depends on your budget. Maybe if you have a bit more, you could go for Firmino if you really want, you know, kind of a punt. And Firmino has a good record against United. Something to bear in mind. But yeah, I think my front three, like my ideal front three for the game week would be Bamford, Vardy, and Che Adams, something like that. But, you know, some people have mentioned Rodrigo. You could even still go for Kane. He's got Sheffield United, remember that. You can't just completely write him off. And if I do get rid of Kane on a hit, I'm going to feel very uncomfortable doing so because he's got Sheffield. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that would be my ideal front three for Game Week 19. After the two, who would be a better option for Cancelo? I'm not sure. I think I have to go up for you. After the two, who would be a better option for Cancelo? I'm not too sure what you mean by that. I don't know if you're talking about transfers or your team overall. But, I mean, if you're talking about transfers overall, I think Diaz would be another great option. But, yeah. Bruno or DCL as captain? Bruno, I think, is more reliable. I know DCL has the better fixture. But just Bruno. In terms of captaincy options this year, probably the best ones, Salah is first. Then probably Kane and Fernandes. You know, they're kind of like the second and third best captaincy options this year. So, yeah, I'd go for Bruno, but... Of course, it's a very tough fixture, on paper anyway. Kane plus Son or Vardy plus Son between game week 16 to 19? Well, okay, I'm going to try to cheap out from that answer. I'm going to say between game week 16 and 18, it's Kane. But onwards, I would probably say Vardy, from 19 onwards. So that would be my answer. Should I bring in Robertson for Kilman? I'd say yeah, but obviously you don't want to take hits for that. If I do, then start Robertson over Dallas with Vestergaard and Diaz. Yeah, if you bring in Robertson, yeah, start him over Dallas. And Dallas is your first sub, you know, you're in good hands. But, you know, he could get some points on your bench, so don't be surprised. Can you please just repeat your plans for Game Week 18 and 19 in brief once more? Yeah, give me a second, just a little water break. So, my plans at the moment, which I discussed in my last video and also in the community tab, at the moment I'm thinking of free hitting in Game Week 18 and assembling a squad. And if you want to see, you know, a rough idea of what my squad would look like on a free hit, then check out my last video, because when I was doing the spreadsheets and everything, I actually put in every single name for the starting lineup and even the bench for a Game Week 18 free hit team. And then in Game Week 19, I'm either going to play the triple captaincy on Salah or I'm going to bench boost. And in order to bench boost, I'm going to be making transfers every single week, preparing for that. And so if we look at my team, Kane would move to Vardy, which, like I said, I'm very uncomfortable with doing because Kane has Sheffield in Game Week 19. Forster to McCarthy, big upgrade. Basuma to Souček, and Kilman to Taylor. And I would have 11 double Game Week players for Game Week 19 if I go ahead with the bench boost. And I would have Grealish, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Son and Martinez as the single Game Week players, which is pretty strong, even though, of course, Villa and Everton play each other, which isn't ideal. But Son has Sheffield away, so could be 20 plus points from that bench boost if I do that. To be honest, it doesn't really matter who you bench boost, like who you have on your bench or whatever, because you could literally put anyone there and make it look like it was amazing. But that is my plan at the moment. And if I had to pick one, I am leaning more towards the bench boost at the moment in Game Week 19. But if not, if I don't bench boost in 19, I will definitely bench boost in Game Week 26. And in order to do that, I would wildcard in Game Week 25 to prepare for that. And yeah, and if I don't free hit in 18, which is unlikely, but if I don't, it would be probably in 29 or another blank game week. So that is my chip strategy at the moment. So my second wildcard will be played in Game Week 25. My triple captaincy, either in 19, 26, or another double game week / favourable fixture for Salah and Liverpool, because Salah's the one I'm targeting for the triple captaincy. And yeah, free hit probably in Game Week 18, if not in 29. And yeah, my bench boost definitely in Game Week 19 or 26. So that's my plans at the moment. I'm trying to keep things open. You will want to be flexible, definitely. I only have 5 players for Game Week 18 and no free hit. What to do? I'm guessing you don't have the wild card. I wouldn't use the second wild card to prepare for this because you want to also prepare for Game Weeks 26 and 29 and 33 and all of these other Game Weeks coming up. So to be honest, I'm not sure how many Game Week 19 players you have, but maybe you can bring in another player or two for Game Week 18. And 7 or 8 is a decent number. And then after that, you can take a hit or two to get some players in for Game Week 19. That's probably how I would go about it. One defender must start this to complete this team, Kilman or Lewis for this game week. I'd probably start... Who do Newcastle even play? Let's see. That's the Game Week 19 fixtures. Man City away. Oh my god. No, yeah, I'd probably start Kilman, but Kilman might not even play, to be honest. And I would look to address that. So, yeah, with your team, I would try to find funds from elsewhere, whether it's your defense or your midfield or your attack, or maybe you have a second keeper who plays or whatever. I would try to make some money and upgrade one of them. Probably Lewis, because he's a bit more expensive. Although you probably got Kilman in around 4.3 million too. So, yeah, I would probably get rid of one of them. Bruno or Salah for this game week? Salah, definitely. The fixture, I think he's going to start. I'm pretty sure he will. Yeah, I just think Salah. But Bruno is my vice captain. And looking at my own team, I mean, we only have a few minutes left to the deadline. Thank you to everyone who's been tuning in for the whole time. I really appreciate it. I've got an option or one decision to make, really, because like I said, the captaincy is kind of, settled. Hopefully Salah plays and does well. It's between Zuma against Arsenal away or Soufal at home to Brighton. Maybe Walker Peters could also be thrown into this conversation. But yeah, I think I'm just going to stick with this. Zuma's my first sub. I think that's what I'll do. Maybe Arsenal will turn up. I mean, I'm really hoping that Arsenal just turn up and make it difficult for Chelsea, just like in the FA Cup final. But that just seems like such a long time ago. And, it is what it is. But I'm not too confident, actually. I know it sounds weird looking at the fixtures for my players. I'm not too confident in clean sheets, across the board, although the fixtures look great. But we'll have to wait and see. And I'm very happy with some of the fixtures for my players, but we'll have to wait and see. Sometimes it's the tougher fixtures where my players turn up in. Let's look up. Yeah, Martinez, Dallas, Robbo, KWP, Grealish, Salah, Bruno, Bowen, Bamford, Kane, Adams. My starting 11. Bench is weak, though, with James, Basuma, Mitchell. Surely all of the above will start, so no need to -4 for James. Yeah, I think they will all start, or they should. Yeah, I wouldn't be too worried. And James is good. If you can keep him, if you can afford to keep him, I would. He's also got the double game week coming up. As for Basuma and Mitchell, and I don't know who your keeper is, I'm guessing it's a 4 million budget one. I would look to upgrade them, especially if you're looking to bench boost in game week 19. So that would probably be your main thing. And if you need money, unfortunately you have to downgrade someone. And that's the problem with having Robertson, for example. Very good player. But just very hard to fit him in and a good bench and all of that. But yeah, it's a good team. And, shouldn't have too many issues there for this week anyway. Will Che Adams take over the points for Southampton's attack? With Ings out, similar to last time, will he overtake Wilson's points in the next 5 game weeks? I mean, over the next 2, I think Adams will outscore Ings, or he definitely will. Ings is out. He will definitely outscore Wilson. As for the next 5, not too sure. But Che Adams did very well the last time that Ings was out. And Che Adams is very good for his price, around 6 million. But if I'm being honest, I'm not too confident or comfortable with having him. Although I did say he's, ideal for the Game Week 19 fixtures, he's not someone I would want to have long term, if you know what I mean. Bamford I would, because he's got so many chances every single game. But as for Adams, I'm not too sure. He's a bit hit and miss, really, but has that assist in him as well. And I think he's a good option, even with Ings. And without Ings, he's going to be the main, talisman up front. So yeah, it's a good question, Savage Mode. Thank you for that. Successfully added you in my favourite FPL YouTuber list. Good luck for your game week, mate. Thank you, Dr. Bot. And if there's anything I can do to improve, which there's definitely probably a lot of things I could do, then let me know. But thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yes, I mean, I bought in Cancelo for Chilwell this week, and it's probably nailed on for the next 2 game weeks, as you said. After that, 2 weeks. Any good options for Cancelo replacement? Oh, my bad. I'd probably say Diaz if you don't have him already, just because he's nailed, and it's literally 0.1 million more. If you have headaches and you really just, want someone who starts and kind of just forget about your defense and focus on your midfield and attack, then yeah, probably Cancelo to Diaz is, something you could go for. But probably in 2-3 game weeks time, we're looking towards game week 19, so maybe you'd want to have a double game week player for that. So maybe Matip, maybe Zuma if you don't have them already. Chilwell could be fit by then. I mean, should be. Reece James. I think all of those would be the best options. But if you're not really too bothered about Game Week 19 and in the way that I'm describing, then yeah, DS is just the perfect, set and forget replacement. This is the way. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you very much. So we'll save 2 transfers for Game Week 18 and make it from 5 to 7 players. And in Game Week 19, we'll take -4 to make it 5 again. Yeah, because, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you have 5 Game Week 18 players in Game Week 19 because Game Week 18 has already happened. But that's roughly the gist of what I'm saying. Try to get, between 5 to 8 players, I would say, for Game Week 18. And then for Game Week 19, try to get maybe 1 or 2 extra double Game Week players. I'm not too sure how many you have at the moment. But yeah, the more the merrier, basically. Is Ziyech a good double Game Week option? You know what? That's fair enough. I actually haven't heard anyone talk about that, and I haven't even discussed him. You know what? I think he's a decent choice. You know what? For double game week, fair enough. But Ziyech, I have to say, he's another one. Injury prone, a bit hit and miss sometimes. So he's someone that I wouldn't be comfortable with in the long term. But, for the double game week, could be a very good differential. It's a very good question, Mohammed. Thank you for that. When will you be doing a wildcard draft for game week 16? You know what? A few people have been asking about that. I could do a Game Week 16 wildcard draft. But of course, it's very dependent, of course. Some people will be saying, I want a wildcard draft because I'm going to be free hitting in Game Week 18. I'm going to be bench boosting in 19. Some people are going to say, no, I'm going to triple captain in 19. I'm not too bothered about having double Game Week players. So there's different elements to the wildcard. Some people will want certain things because obviously everyone's different. Everyone's going to have their different opinions. They have different teams and circumstances. But I will probably try to maybe have a wildcard draft or 2, maybe for different strategies. That's a good idea, so thank you for that, and I'll take that on board. There's doubts around Sufal whether he'll play as his missus gave birth. Fair enough, maybe that makes my decision easy. I mean, I know the deadline has passed, if we look. Yeah, it has. So Sufal will just come off and Zuma comes on, so not too bothered really in my case, but for those people who started Sufal, then yeah, that is a bit of a concern. That's something I didn't even know until I think Calvin brought it up. So yeah, thank you to everyone who obviously put that information in the chat. What does your channel name mean? Dylan's just my name and RCM is just initials really, family initials and all that. But it's a bit of a thing I've, copped up, in Instagram and stuff like that for years. Don't ask me why. There's no specific meaning behind it. A lot of people have added meanings themselves, but I would recommend please don't do that. Keep or sell Vestergaard and Chilwell. Have got Diaz, Sufal and Balbuena on the bench. I would definitely keep Vestergaard because if he's out, like I said with Hasenhüttl earlier, I butcher that name, it's Hasenhüttl. He said he might even make this game week and, didn't seem like he will be out for too long. So I'd definitely keep him. As for Chilwell, I mean, that's a tough one. The deadline has already passed, by the way. But, if he's out for 2-3 game weeks or if you think he will be, then I would definitely get rid of him and get someone else in. But you know what? Keeping both of them is viable. If you're happy with the rest of your defense, then, you could just keep both of them. Great options for double game week as well. And going forward. But yeah, if I had to sell one, it would probably be Chilwell because he's a bit more expensive. And Vestergaard is someone I do like from that Southampton defense. Also, Merry Christmas to you and your family. Thank you, Tariq. Same to you and to your family. I hope you had a Merry Christmas and have a great new year. And 2021 is much better than 2020, hopefully. Just subbed. Good luck to you on this journey. Thank you, Kurt. And, thank you so much. Merry Christmas to you. And, really appreciate the subscription and, your great questions and comments. Thank you very much. Good luck to everyone this game week. Hope you enjoy the football and Boxing Day with the family. Thank you, Savage Mode, and to you as well, and to your family. Hopefully Arsenal get some wins. For me, your channel is better than Let's Talk FPL. Nah. I've seen some of his videos before. He's very, very good. And, he's one of the best FPL YouTubers. So, yeah, thank you for your comment. But, I disagree respectfully. Is Stones a good option if James and Lamptey on the bench? To be honest, I mean, I think it is a good option. On any normal game week, it definitely is. But with James and Lamptey probably missing out game week 15, it's a tough one. And Stones could be rotated. You always have to... That's the problem with having Stones and these rotation risks. If you have an injury or two popping up in defence, sometimes maybe, you're going to have 0 points, in your defence. You're going to have 2 starting defenders who play, and then the third one, 0 points. But you know what? Hopefully Stones plays for you and gets the points. So, yeah, so long as he plays, I think you'll be fine. Sorry, mate, I am late. Hit -4 for Dallas. Thoughts? I'm not too sure. I mean, are you getting rid of James or who are you getting rid of for that? I wouldn't really, like I say, taking hits is fine. And it's not like I completely condone them. I've done them myself. I've done a lot of them over the years. But for a defender, unless you're funding a midfielder or attacker, I would try to say no. Don't take a hit. But it depends on the situation. You know, if you have injuries and you need to take hits in your defence, then fair enough. But I'm not too sure about your situation. How's it, Dylan? First timer here. Welcome, Liam. Thank you for joining in, and hopefully you enjoy the content. And if you have any questions, comments regarding your FPL team, then let me know. I'll try to answer every single question that you have. Kane or Vardy as a replacement for Watkins after this game week? I just transferred in Robertson for Lamptey. Welcome, John Carlos. First time you're here. I would probably say that's a tough one. For the next few, so basically between game week 16 and 18, definitely Kane. But 19 onwards is definitely Vardy, I think. Although Kane actually has a great fixture for 19. But Vardy has the double game week in 19. You've got to think about that. But you know what? If you've already got Son, I would probably go for Vardy. But otherwise, if you have no Spurs attack, you know what? Could go for Kane. But you know what? I'll try to give you just a one-word answer. I would probably say Vardy. Because I'm looking to get him in for Kane myself. So I don't want to tell you something I wouldn't do myself. I feel like I made a mistake playing McCarthy over Martinez. I mean, I don't know if you have another Southampton defender or Villa defender, but I wouldn't call it a mistake, you know. Both could get a clean sheet, you know. So, yeah, let's say both of them get a clean sheet, but Martinez saves a penny or something. I mean, it's nothing you can do. McCarthy's a great choice for this game week, one of the best ones, you know. If you're talking about all these free hit teams, you know, oh, what's the best team for game week 15, you know, McCarthy would be in it. So I wouldn't be too worried about that, you know. You have two great keepers there. I mean, let's talk FPL as many people, so you can't answer every question. So for me, yours is better. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it's so hard. I mean, I have to say, when there's 100 people or more watching, it's difficult to get on top of it. And I try to give detailed answers all the time, but I find myself lagging behind. So obviously, sometimes you've got to skip questions or, you know, try to be even more concise. But of course, if you want to give good advice, sometimes as much detail as possible, detailing your thought process is important. But yeah, it's very difficult. Trust me, you know. You know, if I had thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of people watching, you know, it's so difficult to, you know, answer every single question when the chat literally, you know, it keeps on scrolling down as you're reading, you know, it's difficult. Hi, Dylan. Happy Christmas. Happy Christmas to you too, Juventini. Thank you for joining once again. Good luck for Game Week 15. Fast forwarding to Game Week 16. I'm thinking of moving KDB out for Son, as I prefer his fixtures. Would you consider Rashford over Son for the double game week in 9? Yeah, that's a fair question. You know, Rashford's someone I've actually considered for 19, but only because of that, I'll be honest. But yeah, it's good to look ahead like you're doing. And a few others have done the same thing. KDB out for Son. And you know what? I would say that's good. And maybe after game week 19, when Spurs' fixtures turn a bit for the worse, you could get KDB back in. So I would say, yeah, that's a good move. And as for Rashford, over Son for the double game week, I mean, one of the fixtures is Liverpool away. So, you know, not ideal. Could blank, very likely to blank there. You never know, though. And then Fulham away, where Rashford could get a very good score like he did against Sheffield. So I still prefer Son as the overall asset. He's more reliable. He's got Sheffield away. So, yeah, Son over Rashford, in my opinion, even with the double game week in mind. But, yeah, KDB out for Son, I think that's a good move. Dylan, if you hit 100 points, will you show your face on the channel? Hit the like button, lads. Yeah, maybe. I mean, like I said, there is a video where I do, you know, I have a face review as such. It was an Arsenal video, and yeah, it was a preview all the way back in March before the game. Yeah, the Premier League got cancelled and all of that. But yeah, maybe one day, you know, I'll start doing, you know, putting my cam on and stuff like that, and yeah, have something else different to look at other than my awful team. But yeah, thank you, Jose, for supporting the channel. Hi, Dylan, Bamford or Wilson? Bamford, especially with the next few fixtures. Wilson's got City this week and he's got Liverpool next week. And overall, there's not much to split them, I'll be honest. But I probably prefer Bamford. He's a bit cheaper and just gets so many chances from the Leeds creative unit, you know, from the defence and from the midfield. So I would prefer Bamford. Wildcard for Game Week 16. Yeah, it's important to play your wildcard very soon. Otherwise, you know, if you have your first wildcard, you don't play it, it just gets, you know, absorbed. That's it. It's gone. So yeah, it's important to do that. And, you know, maybe if you have your free hit available, you can free hit in Game Week 18 and literally in your wildcard build a team full of double Game Week players that you're happy with going into the long term, because you don't want to be stuck with a lot of players that you don't want post Game Week 19. Yeah, I got Kyle Walker-Peters. Fair enough. Yeah, Kyle Walker-Peters is a very good choice. Him and Vestergaard, Bednarek just offered great value in defence this season. McCarthy as well, to be fair. Will Salah go all the way and beat his 32-goal season and win the Golden Boot? Are we seeing Salah in his prime right now at 20 years old? I think so. I think, to be honest, with Salah, he's raised the bar so high for himself from that season where he scored 32 that, now people tend to prefer Mane and stuff like that. But in my opinion, last year I think Mane was slightly better. It was very minimal. But yeah, in every other year, Salah's better, and him and KDB have been the best players in the league for the past few years. But yeah, I think this is probably his prime. I don't know if he's going to be that 32-goal season. I'm not too sure. He might get rested a bit more because of COVID and stuff like that. Klopp does like to be cautious at times. But that's a very good question. And to be honest, I think he will win the Golden Boot. Before the season started, I did predictions. I said KDB top assister, Salah top scorer, stuff like that. Liverpool to win the league, all this kind of stuff. But then again, I put Arsenal in the top 4. Oh my God. Anyway, let's move on. But yeah, I think Salah will win the Golden Boot. As for the record, not too sure about that. I started James and Soufal, but I think Bednarek and Dyer will come on as auto sub. That's fair enough. And yeah, Soufal, he might not even play now because of that news about his wife having or giving birth and stuff like that. And then James is probably injured for this. So yeah, that's fair enough. Bednarek and Dyer, not too bad, especially Bednarek. Since a lot of people will be bench boosting, could you please do a wildcard draft for Game Week 16 with bench boost for Game Week 19? Dig your channel, thanks. Thinking of just going in with 8 to 9 players for Game Week 18 and saving the free hit. That's fair enough, thank you. And yeah, quite a few people have been asking for that, so I am considering doing that. A Game Week 16 wildcard draft and kind of planning ahead. And you know what, actually, there's a really good site. I mean, it's always been a good site, but now it's even better. It's called Live FPL? Yeah, livefpl.net. They've got a new feature if you log in, and it literally just takes a few minutes to log in, where you can actually, input your team. Let's see, where is it? I'm not too sure if they've added it like here, but they've got like a section where you can plan your team ahead, and you can see how your team would look in Game Week 16, 17, 18, and you can even like pretty much activate the bench boost there, and you can see how your team would look and stuff like that. But so I think, yeah, just type this in. Jesus, what's wrong with me? My team, I think that's what it is. Yeah, and you have this kind of plan. This was released a few days ago, and it's actually really good. So look, for example, Salah's my captain for 15, Kane 16, 17, although it's not set in stone. I might change that, but you can even change your vice captain stuff. You can look. Game Week 18, I'm going to play my free hit. So let's look at my Game Week 18 team. It's a very good feature, and it's something I would consider for you lot to use. So, let's look down. This is how my team would look for Game Week 18, in theory. Martinez in goal, Diaz, Cancelo, Reguilon, De Bruyne captain, Grealish, Zaha, Son, Wilson, Kane, Calvert-Lewin, and a bit of firepower on the bench if needed, if Cancelo gets benched, for example. And look, you've got a fixture ticker there, which goes all the way to Game Week 18, I think. If you scroll, yeah, you can. Yeah, it scrolls all the way. So yeah, it's a very good feature. I would recommend using it, especially if you're looking to play your chips very soon. So yeah, very good feature there. Live. So let's look at the site again. livefpl.net/myteam. So just do that, and yeah, you should be good to go. So I'll answer any last questions before going. Thank you, 50 people here. Really appreciate it. Let's see. How was being an Arsenal fan? I'm guessing that's saying going, eh? Pretty awful, but I'm not too surprised. I mean, I'm used to massive ups and massive downs, we can beat great teams to win cups, but ultimately we never build on that, and especially in the league, we've been awful for years. And yeah, I mean, there's long-term problems. I always said, even when Wenger was there, the problems stem deeper than Wenger. He's made mistakes, but ultimately the board and everyone, the people running the club, the footballing decisions, they shouldn't be there. And, we're feeling the effects years on, and we're adding on problems by signing the likes of Willian and stuff like that. But let's not get started on Arsenal before I talk for another hour or so. Which are the Game Week 19 double fixtures? Let's have a look here. Game Week 19. So, for example, Chelsea, they've got Fulham away, and they've got Leicester away. So, that's a double game week. They have 2 game weeks. Wolves don't have a game week. West Brom, they've got Wolves away and West Ham away. There you go. That's another double game week team. Leeds have Brighton at home and Southampton at home. There you go. West Ham have got Burnley at home and West Brom at home. That's why a lot of people are trying to triple up on West Ham players, and that's a plausible strategy, to be honest. Aston Villa don't have a double game week, neither do Everton. They both play in game week 18. Leicester, they've got Southampton at home and Chelsea at home. Sheffield United, nope. Liverpool, Man United at home, Burnley at home. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, those are the teams with double game weeks. Of course, Southampton, Leicester away, Leeds away. So yeah, those are the teams with double game weeks, quite a lot. And the fact that Liverpool have one, a lot of people are considering Salah triple captaincy because of that. Let's see. I made a -4 hit, Marçal to Dallas. Thoughts on it? I mean, like I said, I don't really like hits for defenders, but I get it. I mean, Marçal, I wouldn't want to have a Wolves defender at the moment anyway. And Dallas is very attacking, got the double game week, so fair enough, it's a good transfer. KDB to Son next game week and double up on Son and Kane for the good Spurs fixtures? Yeah, and even in game week 19 when there's a double game week, great fixture in Sheffield United away. He can't get much better than that, at the moment anyway. Hi Dylan, dilemma between De Bruyne and Fernandes long term, any thoughts? I've always sustained the same belief this season anyway, and I've said Bruno is the better choice. Because City, I don't know, with De Bruyne you're mainly relying on assists, and Bruno also adds goals to that, more goals should I say, from open play, from penalties, etc. And City overall, their attack has just been so hit and miss, they've been a bit toothless, they've lacked conviction. But with Bruno, he's the main guy for United, so is De Bruyne of course for City, but he's not the main scorer. But with Bruno, he's the second or third top scorer, and he's also the best assister, bonus points magnet. I just prefer Bruno overall, even disregarding fixtures, he's fixture proof. I just prefer Bruno. That's my opinion. Last season it was De Bruyne, and ever since Bruno joined the league, I think he's been the better FPL asset. I do think Bruno isn't as good, in real life in terms of who's the better player, but that's a different story. I'll be answering any last few questions before going, and I'll be honest, I haven't had breakfast yet. I mean, I know it's a bit mad. Hi, Dylan. Oh, yeah, I answered that question, sorry. Who's in your Premier League Team of the Year? That's a good question. You always ask these great questions, not just to do with FPL, Sajman. You know what? In terms of, let's make one now. It's something I've actually thought about before. In goal, it would be Martinez, in my opinion. He's been fantastic, and the thing I really like about him is he offers, calmness at the back, and he's very good with communication. He commands his box very well, and he has no weakness. He's good at everything. So I think he's the goalkeeper of the year so far. In terms of defenders, I think left back, I think Robertson's still been the best, although Chilwell has a shout. He's been pretty good. I think Robertson would be there. In terms of centre backs, that's a difficult one. If 1 or 2 months ago I would have said Fofana, stuff like that, but Diaz is definitely in that. I think Diaz as the best centre back. And as for another one, I'm not too sure. I need to think. There's obviously going to be some players that maybe are obvious, but I actually need to think. Let's look for every single team and think. Oh yeah, Zuma. I looked at Chelsea and I immediately thought about him. Yeah, Zuma. Definitely. Why am I benching the best centre-back in the league so far this season? Zuma. But yeah, Zuma and Diaz would be my centre-backs. Right back, that's a tough one. I actually think Reece James has been one of the best ones, and maybe I'd put him in there, but there are other options. Aurier has been pretty good this season. I know that sounds really stupid, but gave away a penalty the other day, back to his old self. I'll probably go for Reece James. But of course, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going to probably be missing some players. In terms of midfield, that's another tough one. Bruno would definitely be in there. And Grealish is a midfielder / left winger, but I think he deserves to be in this team. So Grealish and Bruno as the centre mids. As for the defensive midfielder, not too sure. I mean, leaving De Bruyne out does seem a bit harsh. But yeah, maybe he doesn't get into this team at the moment. As for defensive midfielder, I don't think Rodri. Maybe Fabinho's a shout. Oh my God. Kante's actually been very good this season. He's kind of gone under the radar. No one from Wolves, West Ham. Oh my God. Oh yeah, Højbjerg. Okay, I have to say Højbjerg probably the best defensive midfielder this season. I know I hate saying that, but I don't really rate him too much as a player overall. But so far this season, I'd probably say him. And yeah, like I said, Bruno and Grealish as the other centre mids. And then as the front three, probably has to. I mean, Salah definitely in there on the right, Son on the left, and probably Kane up front. But then again, there's Vardy, there's Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Leaving Calvert-Lewin out just seems criminal. But Kane's start to the season, I know the last 2-3 weeks he's been pretty poor. He's been great this season, unfortunately. And yeah, as much as I want to be biased and not include them, that's probably my team of the season so far. But things can change. And Calvert-Lewin, like I said, I feel very bad for leaving him out. And to be honest, he probably deserves to be in there. You could put him in ahead of Son or Kane, to be honest. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's see. Let's go for any last questions. FPL broke. What does that mean? Why people are using wildcard in Game Week 16? Because you have 2 wildcards, and if you don't use your first one, then it gets absorbed. And if you use your wildcard after Game Week 16, you're literally using your second one, and you have no more wildcard for the rest of the season. And it's a very good way of helping to navigate through the chips to add even more double Game Week players and all of that stuff. That's why people were wildcard in Game Week 16. Burnley defenders worth a transfer for the double game week? I think so. I wouldn't go too much on them because remember, one of their games is Liverpool away. But Taylor, for example, as your 5th defender, very good choice. And like I said, he's someone I'm considering for my own team, but only as my 5th defender. He's not someone I would like to start most weeks, if I'm being honest. Captain Mane last week, and I was only happy until the 60th minute. Yeah, and he didn't even play, up until 60 minutes. He got subbed off around 57, 58, so he didn't get the bonus point. The clean sheet point and the extra point for playing 60 minutes. So yeah, very hard done by. And I think that ruined his chances of any bonus points overall, and especially when Salah did what he did. Zuma centre-back, I agree, Liam. Yeah, definitely. I probably maybe missed out on someone overall. I mean, De Bruyne, he has a shout still of being in it. And Calvert-Lewin, how could you leave him out, to be honest? Allen from Everton for defensive mids, yeah, fair enough. I just think Højbjerg overall, Allen's had a few injuries here and there. And apart from maybe a few games, to be fair, Spurs have been poor recently, and long may it continue. But yeah, Højbjerg, apart from the last 3 games, has been very good overall this season. From game weeks 2 to 13, 14, he's been, or should I say 12, he's been very good. What is your last score? Can you show me? So last score 70, nothing too fancy. And as much as I want to show my team, the website is down. So if I refresh, yeah, it's pretty much gone. But I got 70 points. And I went down in rank from 70k to 90k pretty much. I made a few bad decisions, including a yo-yo between Chilwell and Diaz, and I got on the wrong end of the stick every single time. As soon as I started changing my defense, basically, I've been suffering from it. And also captaincy. I captained Kane instead of Bruno or Salah. Big mistake in the end, although obviously at the time it looked like a decent decision. But it is what it is. Allen over Kante, laugh my ass. Well, to be fair, Allen has been good, and him and Doucouré and Rodriguez, they made a difference to Everton. But yeah, I wouldn't put Allen personally, but yeah, I wouldn't say it's a laughable, pick. Is Aguero returning? Any news? Well, to be honest, with no Jesus out, now, I would say Delap, Aguero, or Sterling will play up front. No, that's one of the 3 options they have, unless Pep wants to be Pep and play KDB as the false 9 and then, Sterling on the left, whatever. But yeah, I think those are the 3 options he has. And then KDB is like the 4th, kind of woke option as your false 9 / centre forward. Will Man United get double game week in 17? I mean, to be honest, I'm not sure. It's either going to be game week 18, maybe 17, but I think it's too late now. I don't think they will do it. If not, maybe it's going to be further down the line, game weeks 24, 27, these smaller double game weeks. So it's very hard to tell, but we'll have to wait and see there. My last score is 82. That's very good. I wish I had a score like that last week. And like I said, if I captained the right guy and I didn't get rid of Diaz at the wrong time, yeah, I could have been looking at 90 plus points. Sometimes, if you think about, the decisions you make and the impact it has on your team, this makes you sick. Which team do you support in Argentina? Rosario Central. So basically, if you haven't heard of them, Di Maria supports them, and Messi's team, Newell's Old Boys, the rival and the best club in the city, Rosario Central, that's the team. So yeah, that's one of the best teams in Argentina, or at least historically. But yeah, most people know River Plate, Boca Juniors. Then there's like the other Big 5 or Big 4. Yeah, I think it's Big 5. Racing Club, Independiente, and San Lorenzo. They're like the Big 5, the ones I mentioned. And then after that, there comes the likes of Rosario Central, Newell's Old Boys, and Estudiantes, all these teams. But yeah, if just one thing for anyone who hasn't really watched the Argentinian league, they always change the rules, or they always seem to, they like to change things about, basically. So imagine if the Premier League has 20 teams, and then the FA oh, you know what? Let's add in another 2 teams into the league. Oh, you know what? Actually, let's make it 30 teams in the league. And then after maybe a few years, they're like, oh, you know what? After each year, let's reduce it by 2 every single year and stuff like that. And then, instead of, obviously having 29 fixtures twice, you play everyone once, but you play your local rival or your main rival twice. So Central will play News Old Boys twice, Boca would play River Plate twice, stuff like that. So yeah, it's a very weird league. They always like to change things about. To be honest, they should just keep things simple and keep things the same. Let's look at this. Torres false 9. Yeah, that's another choice, to be fair. And UCL, he's been very good doing that. Hasn't really been doing it in the Premier League, but that's a different story in itself. I think Pep could even play Torres up front. Yeah, just like man like Shawnee said. Yeah, I think that's a very good suggestion as well, to be fair. Aguero returning is a good shout for FPL and UCL. Yeah, he is, but too much of an injury-prone player. I don't know. I'm just not feeling him at the moment, and I don't think he's the same player as before. But if there's ever a game he can turn up in, it's Newcastle at home. I mean, I remember his 5 goals against them. Imagine captaining him or triple captaining him for that. Oh my God, the scenes. Is Kane a good pick? Yeah, I think so. Definitely. But if you want more double game week players and stuff, just bear that in mind. And you could get in the likes of Vardy after game week 18 for him. So yeah, just bear that in mind. Salah and Bruno captain combined was 50 points alone. Yeah, exactly. And I talked, everyone who asked me, who should I captain? And most people didn't have Kane, by the way. I would say, yeah, captain Salah or Bruno, simple. And, I say that, and, I should have probably gone for it myself. But I just had a feeling Kane would do well, and he didn't. You know what? The good thing, though, at least Leicester won. I have to take the positives from that. Should I have captain Bamford? Not really, because Bamford's very hit and miss. He could be very frustrating. He could have 3 clear chances for a hat-trick, and he'll end up with 2 points for you. So, yeah, I wouldn't really regret that. If you didn't captain, for example, Salah or Bruno, and you have them in your team, then maybe, yeah, you'll regret it like I did last week. I still have my first wildcard available and have to use before game week 16. What should my strategy be for blank and double game week? So if you have your free hit, you could free hit in game week 18, and with your first wildcard, build a team for game week 19 and full of double game week players or players like Son and Kane who have a great fixture for game week 19, maybe Diaz as well. That's what I would do. But if you don't have your free hit and you have that first wildcard, try to strike a balance between game week 18, have 7-8 players or something, and then for game week 19, you can have 7-8 players as well. And with your free transfer or maybe a hit or two between game weeks 18 and 19, you can add even more double game week players. So that would be the 2 strategies I have. Those are the 2 best things you can do. I think Bamford's going to get a hat-trick tomorrow. I mean, I wouldn't mind. I mean, he is in my team. But I wouldn't really regret it as a captaincy option because he's not really, the type you want to. He's very hot and cold. My team for this week, McCarthy, Cancelo, Chilwell if he doesn't play, Soufa or Dallas, Dyer, Salah, Grealish, KDB, Rafinha, Son, DCL and Bamford. That's a very good team. Some very interesting picks in there like Rafinha. He's becoming a very popular FPL asset nowadays. But yeah, do you have an FPL league of your own for us to join? I don't at the moment, but like I said, when I do, I will let you guys know and you can join, and that'll be very interesting to see. I will be going through a few last questions before wrapping up. We have been going live for around an hour and a half already. Oh my God, time flies when you're having fun, huh? I captained Salah, but West Brom performed well defensively against the top teams. That's true, but you know what? They did play Villa the other day and they lost 3-0. I know it's not a top team, but yeah, I think Salah, you don't want to overcomplicate it, and I'm not too sure. If you've seen Salah's record against anyone in Anfield, but especially, non-top 6 teams, it's incredible. And, not captaining him at Anfield sometimes is a bit of a nightmare because if he does do well, you kind of regret it every single time he does something. Is this the right time to use the wildcard or do I need to wait? Well, your first wildcard, I would say, yeah, you have to use it now because after the Game Week 16 deadline, you can't use it anymore. So, yeah, I would use it. But obviously try to think long term. What's your strategy for the blank game week and double game week? Wait a second. Yeah, like I've said, I think 2 or 3 times before, at the moment, I'm trying to keep my options open. So blank game week 18, I'm most likely going to be free hitting. But if I don't activate my free hit for that, it allows me to make the transfers I want for game week 19 if I do activate my bench boost. And I don't take any hits. So at the moment, game week 18, free hit. Game week 19, bench boost. And I move from Forster to McCarthy, Basuma to Souček, and Kilman to Taylor. And that would require Kane to Vardy, which I'm pretty happy with, to be fair. But if I do the free hit, that would be a -4 to get Kane and Basuma out for Souček and Vardy. And yeah, triple captaincy. I'll probably be using that in Game Week 26, and if not, another double game week or favourable fixture for Liverpool. And in order to prepare for that, my wild card, my second wild card, will probably be used in Game Week 25. So that's what I'm leaning more towards to, but I might not bench boost in 19. I might triple captain Salah instead, or if not, save both chips for later on. I might save my free hit in the end, but like I said, at the moment the plan is that, and if I do change my mind, I will be letting you guys know. I have put a lot of thought into it, and I've even planned my team for every single game week up until game week 21, 22, even planned the transfers and stuff like that. But yeah, it's important to be planning ahead, but things happen, injuries happen. You've got to be on top of all of that, unfortunately. Not everything is ideal. We have the same team except one player have Dye instead of Matip. That's mad, yeah. Maybe that's a sign. That's a sign that we're on the right path, or that we're on the wrong one, unfortunately. What is the best formation? I mean, there's not necessarily a best formation. It's about the players you fit in. It's not the formation. But my opinion, 3-4-3, 3-5-2, probably the two best ones this year. But even 4-4-2 is fine, It's not a bad one. There's not necessarily a right or wrong answer. But yeah, I just prefer having three at the back. Your midfielders and attackers are going to get the brunt of the points, ultimately. So yeah, that's why I tend to prefer three at the back formation. And yeah, it allows me to get a good midfield and a good forward line. Does a West Ham triple up make sense? Yeah, it does. It does. But like I keep on saying with West Ham, they're very hot and cold. They could maybe do very well against the big teams, but against West Brom and these teams that they're going to face in Game Week 19, maybe they won't. So hey, let's actually look. What was the other fixture? Was it Burnley? What is the other fixture in Game Week 19? Oh yeah, here we go. It's gone down. Oh Jesus. Anyway, 1 second. Let me look at the fixtures. I've got it up somewhere. But anyway, if you haven't subscribed already, then please do so. Smash the like button. It will really help out the channel. And like I said, I try to answer every single one of your questions. And as hard as that may seem or be, I try to do that. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram if you want latest updates, especially on Twitter. And you can message me your teams and stuff, and I will get right back to you. But as for this West Ham game, let's look at their fixtures. I think I've got them up here. Yeah, they've got Burnley at home and West Brom at home. That is fantastic fixtures. Yeah, to be honest, yeah, I get the logic behind that. But I don't know. I think 2 would probably be the sweet spot. 3, though, of course, I get the logic. They're probably one of the most popular choices for the double game week. But yeah, it does make sense. I'm not going to talk you out of that. If Antonio is fit, he's fantastic choice there. Souček in midfield as your 5th midfielder. And the likes of Soufal and Creswell in your defence. Fabianski in goal. All great options. They're probably the best ones to have. So yeah, fair enough. As a Leeds fan, I would definitely recommend Rafinha. So should I put him in for Souček? Yeah, to be fair, I would prefer having Rafinha over Souček, but so long as you don't have to make downgrades elsewhere. If you have the funds and you're happy with your team overall, then yeah, I would definitely do it. But I wouldn't downgrade other people to facilitate that move. And should I replace Reece James with John Stones? That's a tough one. I would rather have Diaz, just for that extra security. But Stones, so long as he plays, he's going to do very well. And to be honest, every time he's playing now, City are keeping clean sheets. So yeah, that is a good transfer. But Reece James could be back for game week 16, maybe 17. So it's up to you. If you're happy with the rest of your defense, I would keep Reece James over Stones. But if you're kind of lacking in depth, or you have other injuries and stuff like that, then yeah, I would probably go for that. Burnley and West Brom, yeah, exactly, Ahmed. And unfortunately, FPL was down, so I couldn't get them up there. But yeah, I've got a list of the fixtures for game week 19 on my phone. No surprises in the Man United and Leicester lineups. Big game for both teams, yeah. And to be honest, I do back United to win that. Leicester just tend not to do very well against United, but we'll have to wait and see. A lot of great games to come. Hopefully Arsenal win. Hopefully we all get a lot of points in this game week. But thank you for tuning in. Like I said, smash the like button, subscribe if you're new. It really helps out the channel. And follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And I'm very active on there. And like I said, you can send me your teams there. If you don't want to type everything out, you can just send a team and just say thoughts. And then I'll offer you my thoughts. But thank you very much for watching. This is the earliest stream I've ever done. And there will be more to come. And time to have breakfast. And time to have a good time, hopefully. But thank you very much. Hope you all have had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I'll see you next time.